Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Friendly Differences 2.0. I am Solid Blue Sister, and today is January 31st, 2026. And today we are all going to try to behave. Okay, so
Okay.
our topic for today is white people ask, what do black people want? Now, this is, I do have to preface this to say that this is a topic by, I'm gonna have to say this. This is a topic that Bob has requested, and this topic actually goes back about 2 years on Podbean um, when we were uh, when we had this discussion. So um, I just wanted to say where that's coming from. Also, I also want to say I have to put this in here because for me it is valid. I am one of those people who, I don't know if you want to call them get-togethers, if you want to have, or you want to call them dinner parties, whatever. But every so often, I have a group of people who come over my home, and I've told several people this. But I don't know if I've told you this or not. I don't know if I've told you this, but I have people who come over my house, and it's very eclectic group. It's some of everybody. I mean, it's white people, it's Asians. We have gay, straight, whatever. And we talk about a lot of things. And I have some Trump supporters who come over. My neighbor who is a huge Trump supporter, he has come over, whatever. And we sit and we have drinks and we have dinner, whatever. And we talk about a lot of things. And we talk about a lot of the hard subjects. So I say that so people who think that I, push the envelope too much, I've gotten emails from people saying, why do you always talk about this? Why do you always talk about this? Because these are things that we need to talk about. And for me, if you get upset, and to me, you're not mature enough to have the conversation. When I say get upset, I'm talking about you're ready, just to storm out the room, and you don't want to, your way is the only way. So, having said that, welcome Bob, welcome Taz, welcome Thomas the villain, welcome Professor Lloyd, welcome Dread and Lady Artemis. So, Bob, I am going to start off with you. And what questions do you want to ask?
So yeah, I was going to start with that. I listened to the show from 2 years ago on your show, My Turn to Talk, again today, just to refresh my memory. That show was a blast from the past. Some of the names that we've lost contact with, and I thought it was a really good show at times. It did get a bit heated and a few f-bombs, but it was really good. And the reason why I've always said this topic is so important to me and other white people, and I think last week's show for me was really great with Solid and Dread, and it kind of did lead into what we're going to talk about tonight, hopefully, and that is what the black people want, because I've been a part of this show and Solid show for 2-3 years now, and I speak probably for a lot of white people, a lot of just people in general, is to say, for a selfish point of view as well, that I've sat and listened to the grievances that you guys have, but ultimately I'd love to hear what you would like to see going forward, and I've never really heard it. So tonight I'm going to give all you guys a chance to tell me, and I would ultimately like something in black and white, laws, policies, things that I could check up, do a bit of research on, and come back maybe next week or the week after, whenever Solid allows. Because there's a lot of things. For example, I'll give an example about sundown towns. I've already done a bit of research and found out that, is it Bidar, Texas? I know I mentioned this on last week's show, but it's no, as of the Civil Rights Act in 1968, it was made illegal. So things like that, like, I know there are heartaches in the black community. There are things that go on, and I'm with you all the way. But if you don't give me any concrete black and white laws and policies and things that are happening. I can't, because ultimately there are things happening to every color, every race in the world today. And that doesn't mean that I'm okay with it. It means that we need to come together and fight those things, because I think the message that, this might come across as harsh, but I think the message that you guys push can push hatred towards white people. And I've got a video on my phone that I always keep thinking about when I say those things of, it's unclear, but there's a black group of black people, and the subtitles are there. You can clearly hear what they're saying, but I assume it's white people getting off a bus and the subtitles, and you can hear them saying, "They're white, let's get them." And obviously the video that were played a few weeks ago, with Thomas's reaction, that I found it flabbergasting, about, you know, the eradication of white people, and the video getting gradually worse and worse, to the point where people were saying, yeah, we need to kill all white people, they are the root of the problem. That's the rhetoric that I obviously am against, and I would be the same if it was a white person saying the same things about black people. So ultimately, I don't know if I'll talk much tonight. I'll maybe interject and say, like, okay, I'll jot that down. I'll come back to you. But it was just an opportunity to let you guys say what you want. Even if you want to phrase it in a way, if you guys became president, what would your policies be? How would you almost combat racism and what's happened in the past? Yeah. So I'll pass the mic.
Okay. Before I go to Taz and Thomas, I would like Lady Artemis, if you have anything you'd like to say, and I'm going to say this, and I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Not at all.
Because we've talked about this before on previous shows. Lady Artemis is multiracial, and she presents white. So I would like for you, and then Thomas and Taz, I would like for you to address what Ba has said, because again, from a previous show, I know you get it from both sides. So
Absolutely, I'm happy to. As far as what he was just saying now, and again, please know, this is not, I don't want you to think I'm attacking you. This is just how I'm internalizing what you're saying. Okay. Remember, intent versus impact. The impact that your words had on me right now were not pleasing. I will be honest. I understand. It sounds like you're coming from a place where everybody needs to love everybody. It doesn't matter race, color, creed, religion. And if I'm wrong, please do correct me. That is what I'm getting. But that is kind of from a place of white privilege and naivety, if I'm being honest. The reality is that, you know, when you were bothered by that video where these people of color were saying they're white, let's get them. That video was probably 1% out of 99 that involves anybody of color. That is such a rare event. But I ask you, are you surprised that people of color want to retaliate? Are you surprised that people of color are mistrusting, rightfully so, of people that are white, that are unfrosted Pop-Tarts? Is it really a surprise that there is animosity from people of color towards the majority being the white people who invented racism, who invented systemic oppression, who invented sundown towns, as you were talking about? Is it really a surprise that people get fed up and that they want to retaliate, or that they just don't want to deal with white people because they don't know who's smiling in your face? Malcolm X, when he said, beware of the Democrats, the white people who are Democrats, what he was saying was that you have people that will, oh yeah, I'm all progressive, I'm this, I'm that. And then really they're still white supremacists. They're duplicitous. They play you. You don't know who's a safe person. We teach our kids all strangers are bad. This is true. But it's not just all strangers that people of color need to be nervous about. They are more likely to flock to people of their own color and community than they are to flock to a white person for help. And it's because society has taught the colored community, don't go to anybody who's white. Don't do this. Do not trust them. Run. Go the other way. Find someone else that is of your color and creed. And it's kind of, again, like I said, it's very much a white privilege aspect when you say, well, as a white person, I was in my feelings because I heard this one video. And again, intent versus impact. That's the impact that your words had on me. It may completely be opposite of your intent. but it's also one video versus centuries of racism and oppression for people who are not white, for people who don't present like me. When I was born, my mom said she has a shield because my mom is Black and I came out white presenting. And my mom was so relieved because that meant people would leave me alone. That meant crazy white people would see me and say, oh, she's one of us, moving on, and find someone else. It was a shield of safety. That's terrifying to learn, even though I didn't learn that until I was grown up, because obviously my mom didn't want to traumatize me. Hearing that and hearing that my mom was afraid of society and what society would do if they looked at me and could tell I was biracial, that's a scary thought. I haven't heard of any white person saying I was scared of society looking at me and seeing I was white. I don't hear that at all. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. But moving forward, I'm happy to have, obviously I'm happy to have a good discussion with you and kind of learn a bit more about like where you're coming from. But immediate impact is that's very much a white people in their feelings kind of aspect.
Okay, so Thomas and Taz, whichever one of you guys want to jump in.
You go ahead, Taz.
Bob, few things. You started off by saying that you were going to sit silently. Then you said you wanted to know what Black people wanted. But then you gave specific instructions and told us what you were willing to accept, what you weren't willing to accept. You're talking about legislation, et cetera, et cetera. What every Black person wants doesn't have to do with the legislative body. And you asked us individually. 2, in listening to you, I learned one thing. Either you're really bad at research or you only research until you can get your biases confirmed. Because you talked about sundown towns becoming illegal, meaning you skipped or you stopped before you realized that sundown towns still exist. And whether a sundown town exists or not, we are still bothered. You also put out there that you won't fight with us or for us until we convince you that we're worthy of it. So with all of that, what makes you think that at any point you have the capacity to stand on the right side of history? And why do you believe that we want you on our side and that we're obligated to prove anything to you?
I'll go one better. I will go one better. Boss said, according to the 1968 Civil Rights Act, sundown towns were supposed to be illegal. Since when has the law ever mattered to races? And I will say something else just to make sure that we're all on the same page. Bob, you feel as though when you hear, oh, they're white, let's get them, or we have to eradicate white people, that somehow that is the equivalent of every goddamn thing that we have as proof of the other way around. You see, we use words. They used actions. A sundown town existing in 2026 is an action. You can't weigh that next to, oh, I don't like white people. They don't even weigh the same at all, period. They do not weigh the same. Our words are policed. They brought rappers on Capitol Hill to talk about the guns and the gangs and the violence in their music. Meanwhile, the Klan is still existing. You cannot even put them in the same boat. And I'm gonna tell you something, Bob, and I'm not talking to you personally. Not you personally. But I am getting absolutely tired of white people trying to tell us that we're going to act towards them the way they've acted towards us. There has never been a time in American history where that has ever happened. There's never been an example in American history that has happened. You'll find one. You'll find two. Hell, I'll even give you'll find 1,500 examples of Black people being mean to white people. We got from the boats to Trump as an example of the other way around. Nobody ever wants to talk about that part, though. This is not a conversation. People within the margins, people in marginalized communities, we are subjected to a conversation between whiteness. Number one, whiteness doesn't exist. You got European, you got German, you got Scandinavian, you got Russian, you got Ukrainian. You don't have white. White is some shit that was invented here. And between what you think you are in whiteness and what you actually are in whiteness are two totally different conversations. The rest of us just have to be subjected to it because we're here. I get tired of hearing how, oh my God, I'm having black fatigue, and oh my God, they hate white people. I've been told I hate white people for over 5 damn years. My wife is whiter than snow, but somehow I hate white people. I don't hate white people. I hate racists. And if you just so happen to identify as a racist, I might not be the person for you to follow. But there is no equality in this. This is not an all lives matter type thing. White folks, as you call them, created this system, propagated this system, propped up this system, made laws for this system, and now our words are enough for these people to go, oh, you just hate white people. If you took my lineage, just my father's side of the family, there are more examples of white people showing their disgust and disdain for black people than you could possibly find in any video I've ever made in 5 years. This is ridiculous. The fact that we're sitting here having to tell you, a grown human being, what it is that we want when you literally have examples over and over and over. I want there to be less Amir Locks. I want there to be less Philando Castillos. I want there to be less Sonia Massey's. I want there to be less Breonna Taylor's. That is something you can find out on your own. But no, let's assuage the feelings of these uncomfortable white people because, oh, you said cracker. This is the most ridiculous damn conversation we've had, period. But you know what? I'm going to get in it. I'm going to get in it. Hopefully by the end of this, Baha, you understand we are long past your guilt and we don't want your damn apologies. Nobody's even looking for reparations because it would break this country. What we would like for y'all to do, again, is learn and dismantle.
But real quick, Bob. Real quick, let me add this. Bob, a few weeks back, and it was just myself and Professor Lloyd that were speaking. And I told you towards the end, because one, I'm still waiting on that apology because you consistently typing my name lowercase, still a microaggression, and I haven't forgot. I don't forget. But I told you specifically where to find resources that I know were vetted because they're resources that I put together myself. You said you were looking to better yourself through education. Did you look into any of those resources?
Nope.
So, given that you did not look into those resources, there still has been no apology issued. Why should we take you seriously? Because at this point, you said that your history with Solid Blue goes back years. So you've had years of listening to POVs, listening to lived experience, having the opportunity to Google at least things. Why should we believe that you're going to leave this conversation any better than when you started?
I mean, as I said, I've for about maybe be coming up for 10 years now, went down a journey of philosophy, politics, conspiracy theories, and I feel like I'm well-rounded to talk about these things. And obviously since meeting Solid and being part of My Turn to Talk for probably over a year and then doing Friendly Differences, it's just questions that I have. And I feel like the reaction I got that show a couple of years back, and obviously tonight, I know we're only 15 minutes in, but the fact that there is six guests versus one, I mean, put 2 and 2 together. We'll see how the show goes. I just feel
this isn't an us versus you, but I asked a specific question. And I would greatly appreciate if the goal is for us to educate one another and in this with a plan on how to move forward and move towards equity. Let's not politics this. Let's not philosophy this. I am very direct in my questioning. I interview people every single day. I educate people every single day. Why should we believe that by the end of this, you would have listened to us and you will be willing to change?
Okay, I just want to interject really quick. I invited and extended invitations to 5 people who I knew were your like-mindedness. I put those out. I have put those out like.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I'm just pointing out.
I just want everyone who is either in the chat who watches the show. I have invited them when I knew the show was coming up and I knew the date. I have extended so many. I have followed up. Crickets. These are people who have come into my email and say, Solid, you never had this. Well, what? I invite people. Last week, Dread and I, when we were on, I put, Tuesday, on Tuesday's show, I put it into the chat. I said, because there was somebody who just kept going on and on and on. I said, I'm going to put the link in, come up. Nobody wants to show up. So I just want everyone to know that it's not us versus them, because you did say, do the math, by which, you.
Yeah. I mean,
but I extended the invitation, and the people who yell the loudest never show up. Yeah. So I just
maybe it's down to the show topic in itself, and again that leads into why I'm so eager to have this show. I've been asking, not persistently, but I have asked multiple times to do this show, because ultimately this is the show that I'm most interested in. And again, Taz and anyone else on the panel, you don't have to justify yourselves to me. That's not what I'm saying. Like, you can fully back out the show and leave now. I'm just a white guy in Scotland wanting to learn and get to the bottom of this, because I don't know if you fully understand, but I've said on the show, my main goal, my main message throughout all my shows, whether it be philosophy or conspiracies or politics I'm talking about, is to unite. And there's a common enemy, and it's not the white man. As much as you guys in the panel might disagree, it's not the white man. That rant that I had on the show last week was, and I'm not afraid, I thought it was really good. I'm not the best at speaking. I'm sure you guys realize that. But that rant I had, I clipped it and I put it on because it's just not like the same things that are happening to you guys are happening to other races and religions and other people in the world. And that's the part that you need to understand. Do you guys know do you guys need
stop?
to
Whoa, wait a minute.
I'm so
Okay, if it's happening to other people, then why haven't your white folks fixed it then? If it is happening to other people, other groups, other ethnicities, other margins, every religions, then why the hell aren't white people fixing it then?
Hold on.
Man.
Who is Tony Timpa?
Hold on. Bob, finish your point.
Yeah,
because
I was
know
just going to ask one simple question. One simple question. Who is Tony Timpa? Can anyone on the panel answer that?
No. How about this? How about we rewind? Rewind and answer the question that I asked you. Taz asked you. No. I asked you a question twice. You have gone all over that question. I'm asking the question for a reason. You sat here and told me that I didn't understand. You sat here and said what we have a problem with, and nobody has really expressed what they had a problem with just yet. I asked a question because it will determine how we move forward, because you're saying that you've taken all this time, you've had all this interaction, but yet you don't seem to have learned anything. So I'm going to ask again, how do we know that by the end of this, you would have learned something and we can move towards equity?
I said that at the start of the show. If you guys give me something to go away and look at and research, I'll do my due diligence and I'll research it, and we'll come back at a later date and I'll say, right, fair enough, this is true.
That's not my question.
Didn't she do that already? I thought she did that already. She gave you resources.
Dred, go, because I know you've been wanting to say something, and I know Lloyd's being very patient. Go ahead.
Okay, so to answer your question, I didn't know who Tony Timpa was, and you know what? Google is free, and Google is your friend. So I guess you wanted to make the case of Tony Temple, who died in Dallas in police custody 2016, stating he was schizophrenic off his medication and high on cocaine. In a nutshell, he died in police custody. His family got nothing. Oh, sorry. Wait a minute. Settlement. The city of Dallas later approved a $2.5 million settlement to resolve the wrongful death lawsuit. Is that the one you're speaking of?
Yeah, but he died the same day, the same way that George Floyd died, on the same day, if I'm not mistaken. And no one knows his name. And what about Irina on the bus?
What?
What about the multiple screenshots on my phone about black people?
Nobody knows his name.
He didn't just say that. He didn't just say that.
What do you? I mean, but Bob, why do you think people know George Floyd's name?
Because you guys sit here and bring up that this happened, right? And Breonna Taylor's and Jesse Smollett's and all these people, right? But I've said it time and time again on the show. Give me half an hour and I'll find the exact same things happening to white people, happening to Chinese people, happening to any other people.
At the hands of white folk.
Here's the thing that you're not
At the hands of white people.
No one is saying.
Finish the sentence. At the hands of white people.
Wait a minute, hold on, Bob. What? Hold on, Bob. Why? Why are
Irina on the bus happened by the hands of white people?
Bob, are you going to listen to us? Because you're trying to contradict. My question, once again, I'm going to be the question person because this is what I do. Why? If you're asking us what we want or how we feel and we express it to you, why are you trying to contradict it? If you were to come to us and go, you know what, you guys, I need to take a break. I've been diagnosed with this terminal illness. How would you feel if we go, well, my mom had that terminal illness and this person had that terminal illness and this person has this one? Why do you feel the need to contradict? You're claiming that you're coming in good faith, but there's no way to come in good faith when you just said, whatever you all tell me, I will find the same thing from another community.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll give you.
You're looking for confirmation bias. This is a pointless damn argument. You are literally going to, if I gave you an example, listen, you want to talk about Tony Temple? Do you know who it was that protest for the death of Tony Temple? Black Lives Matter. Look it up. I'm sorry, you won't. Do you know who protests for the death of Daniel Shaver, who was killed by 2 police officers, one of which brought in his own AR-15 that said, you're fucked on it, and killed that man after giving him 2 different sets of instructions? Do you know who it was that was raising his name up and saying his name? Black Lives Matter. But you want to go search for some shit. Find me the time that All Lives Matter ever protested for shit. This is a pointless damn. This is a rehash of some shit you're not going to learn anyway.
Where was All Lives Matter when Megan Good got shot? Where was All Lives Matter when Megan Good got shot?
Annabelle said it perfectly, coming through with the super chat. George didn't get $2 million either. You're comparing people who receive justice as to why we're not screaming their names to people who are. Are you aware that people are still making George Floyd jokes to this day? To this day. That people,
words.
Wait a minute. Are you aware that Black people, the Black community, are still providing mutual aid to his daughter because she has to, not by choice, has to go to a private school because there are adults still harassing a child, a Black child, because of how her father was murdered.
And who is it that's doing the harassing, Bob? I'll give you a hint. It ain't us.
It's all whataboutism, though. It's all.
There's no what, Bob. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is why this is a useless conversation to have with Bob. This is why, because you are literally sitting. She just sat here and told you this. She just told you the life that George Floyd's daughter has to live through, and you're sitting there going, "It's whataboutism." What the hell are we talking to you for, then, dog?
That is not whataboutism.
Why are we talking?
No.
But Bob,
I said
dead ass. Why are we talking to him?
I said at the start of the show,
useless.
I didn't want to get into
useless.
This happened and this
It
happened.
is a useless conversation.
Wait. Dred has been trying to say something.
Okay, now, Bob, I want to just stop you right here because you said it's whataboutism. You telling me to look up Tony Temple. What is that? That's whataboutism.
It's to prove that.
No,
Sorry,
it is
Leon, you
what
got it.
aboutism. And that is part of what black people want. Stop the whataboutism. Oh, so what about the white people who do it? I can guarantee you every dollar in my account that you will find more violence from the hands of white people to black people. You brought up that you're sitting on a panel of 6 people. Really quickly, from Solid to Taz to Thomas to Lloyd to Lady Artemis, city and state you were born in. Solid? Solid, what? Solid, please. What city and state were you born in?
Chicago, Illinois.
Taz, where were you born?
Old Christian Island, Nassau, Bahamas.
Thomas, where were you born?
Jersey City, New Jersey, Brick City, baby.
That's right. Newark, New Jersey. Lloyd,
Newark,
where were
New
you
Jersey.
born?
Denver, Colorado.
Denver, Colorado. Lady Artemis, where were you born?
Denver, Colorado, Mile High City.
Okay, bye. I want to tell you something. We all can go to each other's home state and find a sundown town. We all can go to a state where we are unsafe. The Bahamas, where my great-great-grandmother was, who had tribal marks, who was also a wet nurse for the Lerner family in Florida. I got no benefits from my great-great-grandmother having to nurse a white child. And do you know what happened to the wet nurses who nursed a child from the same breast, a white child and a black child? Do you know what happened to them? They were beaten.
They were beaten.
They were beaten.
They were beaten.
They were beaten. We don't want the whataboutism. We don't want you to say this happened. It's like saying, hey, our boat sank, but the other ships didn't sink. So, hey, come take the cruise.
Oh no, your ship sank. Your ship sank, but the Titanic sank too, and it had white people on it. Okay, we're not saying that isn't a thing. What you're doing, Ba, is invalidating our experience. You invalidate our feelings. You invalidate our truth. When you say, okay, but I can tell you right now, there are white people who've gone suffered through that. No one's saying white people haven't suffered. We're saying your skin color does not contribute to what you go through, especially here in America. Looking like I do. Are you kidding? The people I'm terrified for, my mom, my daughter, my husband. My husband is Salvadorian and Spaniard. He looks brown. He doesn't look like his dad, like a white European. He looks brown. He was born in DC. And ever since this whole bullshit with ICE has started, anytime he goes outside and he's not in his military uniform, I am terrified ICE is going to take him. Do you know that fear? Have you ever been afraid of the police? Have you
Nope.
ever been afraid in your own city?
Nope.
Not just for you, but for your family, for my
Nope.
daughter, my boys. Have you ever been that kind of afraid?
No.
And you sitting here saying that shit invalidates what we go through.
But
All right,
words,
wait,
words, Lady Artemis, words. We say,
hold on.
fuck cracker. It's words. Get the.
Hold on.
Wait a second.
Hold on. Lloyd has not
Read.
had a chance to say anything. So Lloyd,
I mean, I don't like to try and prove our humanity to nobody. And so I'm just going to we have a long record of what Black people want. You can look it up. There's a book called What the Negro Wants by Rayford Logan, where both conservative and liberal Black people all wrote in the book and talked about what the Black people want. But Ba, you're doing what I would call the buffer class is. And the buffer class is a group that was placed between Black people and the elite white. You're given racial status, but denied power. So you can sit here and talk about white people being denied power, but you still love your racial status. And so you enforce the systems of control without having to take the blunt of the blunt of the exploitation on Black people. So you are literally shadow boxing for white elites. And then what you do, you'll get in front of other people and say, well, I don't have this and I don't have that, and white people are doing this and white people are fighting that, because the white elites have programmed you to do that. They programmed you. Why? Because tomorrow we start Black History Month 2026, right? 2026 Black History Month, the 100 years in which Black history can even be taught. because Black history doesn't just rob us of our identity, it robs you of your humanity. Your prejudiceness is actually is built around not teaching our history and who we are, because you know the prejudice of all white people is literally born in Blackness. And so therefore, if you don't understand that in other words, if you don't see us as human beings, then we could jump up a million times. If you don't see us as human beings, you're never gonna understand us as human beings. So when you get up here and say, what is it that y'all want? You know, Dred just asked a question, where's everybody from? If we all leave right here and go to our different sides of the corners, all Black people, we're a monolithic, but we're not a monolith. All of us can go to different corners and we can tell you what Black people want from all over. So coming in here and asking this group of people, what is it you Black people want? When you can easily just type in on a Google search, what do Black people want? And you get a million responses from what do Black people want. You're saying, well, that means what that tells me, you also don't understand what is de jure and de facto segregation or de jure and de facto racism. In other words, racism that was by law, and then racism that just happens because laws were once established. So what we're living right now is called de facto, right? De jure was the laws that segregated, the laws that made racism good, the laws that did that. But now we have to live out the thing that, in other words, now it's de facto because no one has ever undone the colonization of the mind that white people went through about seeing Black people as not human. And that same thing happens to other Black people. Black people drink the Kool-Aid and then they start to take the inferiority mentality. And so you have Black people who might agree with you and say there's something wrong with other Black people. So there's so much nuance in that, but you can't ask the question, what do Black people want? And then when all the Black people around here start telling you what they want, and then you still fight back, you say you're gonna sit here and take notes. I haven't seen your pen move.
I've yet to be given something in concrete that you would change.
But
what difference would it make?
But hold on. Our lived experiences is concrete. That's
Damn.
Yeah, but you know as well as I know, you're not going to change dirty looks and words.
You know what? I tell you what. Check this out. You want to know what we want? You really want to know what we want?
How is it every time I talk? Can I just clarify something before someone moves on?
Ridiculous.
Clarify something.
Because you are arguing from a place of ignorance, and I don't like ignorant ass people.
Solid.
I said it.
I think I'm being misunderstood.
One moment, please.
Can I clarify before you go, Taj? Can I clarify something?
One moment, please.
Let him clarify. Go ahead, Bob.
I've probably not started off the show well, but my underlying, like, Solid knows this, and I do know you guys don't know me as well as her, but I want us to unite and fight the common enemy. And when I say the whole what about thing with Dred, right? I'm not saying it's but what about this and trying to dilute your lived experience. What I'm doing is it would be like, I'm not good with analogies, but let's say, for example, a husband beats his wife and then he moves on to his next partner and he also beats her. And then the two women meet and they go, he's beating me. And the other one goes, but he's also beat me, right? Those two women should unite and be supportful to each other and fight against the common enemy, the husband, right? But you see that as me saying that your lived experience is not because you used to get beat by him, but now it's me. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is saying that if you're telling me that George Floyd had his was killed by a cop, had a knee, and then I say to you, do you even know who Tony Timpa is? And you go, oh my God, are you? It's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is saying is I'm taking the racial element out that you guys are so hook, line, and sinker for. Every news outlet pushes this, that race is the reason why they get killed. But yet, if I show you that it happened to a Japanese person or a Chinese person or an Australian or a British person, I'm taking the racial aspect out and let's unite and fight the reason, which is the police and how shitty they are. Because I'm with you on that. The police are assholes. No one will say that more than me. That's the part. Like your empathy that the media have played on with these stories, and even like Lady Artemis getting upset there, I empathize with that. But what about I've heard 2 people have been shot. Weren't they white? Like, I'm trying hard to put across my point.
Well,
it's not what about this and what about that?
You cannot be fucking
Wait, hold on. Wait a second. wait, let me say this. Let me say this. And I'm going to say this coming from a multitude of places. As an educator, as a historian, and as a person that you consistently disrespect. And let me break down your disrespect. It wasn't Dredd that you accused of the whataboutism. It's me. On this panel, you can't even tell us apart. Number one. Number two, I asked you before why you still hadn't apologized for the microaggression and the disrespect that you intentionally put towards me the last time I was on here and you were in the comment section.
Respect is
let me finish, because you consistently are being disrespectful to me during this broadcast. So I'm going to need you to stop. You cannot say that you're going to fight alongside of us when you are specifically being disrespectful and showing your racism. I don't care what you've established with somebody else. I do care what I am able to gather information on you regarding in real time. Now, you're sitting here saying that we're stuck on race because of the media. Absolutely not. We are not. The Black community, I mean, we are not easily swayed, manipulated, or prone to propaganda. And when you're talking about the police are bad, do you know the history of the police in the United States? Do you know that the police departments across the United States are just a rebranding and a renaming of the slave patrols? Do you know that they still use Black and brown faces for their target practice? Do you know that profiling is still a major component? Do you know it takes more hours to become a CNA or a cosmetologist than it does to be a cop? Do you know that police unions went and fought in courts all the way up to the Supreme Court so that protect and serve is nothing more than a slogan and they don't have to protect or serve any of us? Are you aware that police unions will stand in the wayside to make sure that they are not held accountable for the taking of Black bodies? Are you aware that the federal government right now is passing out coins to federal officers that are willing to do bodily harm to Black and brown bodies? Are you aware of that? And also, let me say this. You're saying that you want to know change, and that looks and words won't change according to what we say. Yes, they will. Change needs to come not just from legislation, but from mindsets. And I'm going to say this, and then you can put a pin in everything, because you're saying you want concrete evidence, you want edification. How about this? I will give you, we're not going to come back in a week or two. I will give you a month free of charge to come to my history class and to come to my open discussions, to sit with other white-bodied individuals who are deconstructing, and in the open discussions, sit with other white-bodied individuals that used to have the mindset that you have, and you can ask them how they change. You can get a global perspective on this. Are you willing to do that? Or do you just want to keep making a name for yourself online by pretending to be a bigot? Because I've caught on. You actually get it. You actually get it. But you're not working on a personality. You're doing this to be remembered in all the wrong ways.
You know, it's, if I can interject real fast, it's a little interesting, Ba, that you brought up domestic violence. I am a survivor. I also, as everyone here knows, I'm in grad school for my master's in forensic psychology. I have a minor in criminology. So when you're talking crimes and stats, not only have I lived it personally, but I literally have degrees in this. So let's look at something. My ex-abuser, Trent McCracken, one of the whitest names you could ever come up with on this planet, was my abuser. He had friends in the police department, 2 of them. One who happened to be a person of color, but he was actually more associated with his sister. His sister had been going through a rough time, and he knew what it was like to be looked at a certain type of way. So he gave his sister, Darby, a chance, wouldn't arrest her, would bring her home, became a great family friend. Darby got her life together. Great. Back to Trent. Well, Trent felt like everybody had done him wrong, and oh, poor him, everyone's against him because he's a white guy with a pool at his house. Correction, his mom had a pool. He didn't have anything. But that didn't stop him from taking out his rage on me and knocking me around to the point where I had to put an emergency restraining order on. Oh, and did I mention it was his one cop friend that brought the restraining order to check on him? Now, let's keep going a little further. He is right now currently in custody because he poured gasoline on his most recent girlfriend and it caused bodily harm. The reason why he's only charged with chemical irritants, bodily harm while using a caustic substance, and aggravated assault is because he didn't strike the match in time to light her up. That's why it's not attempted murder, is because he had every intent to do it, but he couldn't find his matches and he lost his lighter. And they're telling him, and he has a rap sheet of 52 pages, because that guy is the one that I've been worried about. That's the one that I've been concerned about, that I have had night terrors over. And the justice system, regardless of the fact that he has a rap sheet 52 pages long, never let him see a damn day in jail. Why? Well, he also has a friend that's now a city councilman. Remember that Officer Benny I told you about? Well, now he happens to be a city councilman. So Trent, being all entitled and white, of course, drops that name whenever he can, or drops the name of his other officer friend, who then they vouch for because he shows that positive side to them despite the rap sheet. Why is this an issue? I had 2 different therapists that I was seeing who knew nothing of each other when I was dating him tell me he was getting ready to kill me and I needed to get out. And the one told me he was going to, a black woman looked at me and said, he's going to get away with it. If he kills you, he will get away with it. They will show your picture. They will say you're biracial. And he actually said the same thing to me. As soon as they find out you're a half N-word, no one's going to give a fuck. They're going to thank me for cleaning up our streets because we don't need half breeds, is what he told me one day during a rage. And have you ever seen rage eyes? They're terrifying. They're absolutely terrifying. And he probably was right, because look at what he did. He poured gasoline on someone. And just because he didn't strike a match, even though there was obvious intent that he wanted to body bag this woman, no, we're not going to hit him with attempted murder. It doesn't matter. No, a caustic agent charge is what we'll give him. Now, let's actually look at statistics, because again, that was my personal experience. Let's look at statistics. Did you know white conservative Christian men are more likely to be pedophiles, domestic abusers, and rapists than any other demographic across the world? Not America, the entire world. White conservative Christian men, specifically targeted towards America, are the biggest threat to children, women, and people of color. Go to FBI.gov. Feel free to do your own research. You do not have to take it from me. Go to the APA. Look at the American Psychological Association. Look at what they give you. You don't have to take my word for this at all. But when you actually look at the facts, white people have caused more violence, more disturbances. They are the ones that commit more familicide, which is where they kill the entire family. They are more likely to be prone to postal episodes or school shootings than any other demographic. Why do you think that is? I genuinely, everybody give him a second. I'm genuinely curious. Why do you think that is?
Are you talking about in America or the world?
No, I mean the world, because white men are the ones that do it the most in the entire world. Why do you think that is?
Well, the religion aspect, I believe, is a huge part of it. You're basically
Thou shalt not kill. Right?
No,
Thou
but
shalt not kill.
when you suppress your sexual desires, it doesn't go well, as we know from history.
So being gay means I should go postal if I have to stay in the closet?
I never mentioned anything about homosexuality. I just says repressing your sexual desires.
Then what did you mean by repressing your sexual desires? Are you talking about when men look at little girls? Because I need some clarity here.
I mean, that's what I've been led to believe. That the reason why I think it's more so in the Catholic Church, that when they give their life to God and become celibate, you're repressing your sexual desires, and then that's when, you know, a lot of religious sexual abuse happens. That's what
Time. Everybody, please correct me if I'm wrong. Did he not just say that he was led to believe that men repressing their urges for little girls? Did everybody catch that, or is that just me? Because if I'm wrong,
I caught it. Yes, I caught it. I caught it, looked at it, and put it down because I knew it was coming.
I'm glitching right now because I caught that.
And as a CSA, SA, and again DV survivor, I can't believe we're having this conversation.
Realize we can run the tape back. Like,
I never said nothing about girls or boys. I said sexual desires.
And then what did I say? I said sexual desires. I needed clarity. And I said sexual desires towards men wanting little girls. I need clarity. And You said, well, that's what I've been
No,
led to
no.
believe. And then you
No,
kept
no.
going.
No.
Would you like to
that
try
wasn't-
and back that up?
Anyway,
Let him unbury himself.
no, this is getting weird. This is getting weird.
Let's
get back to the topic.
Wait. One of the things that she
Oh, the dodging.
So
dodging.
the lady just gave you all the statistics of white men and crime.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know why all these white men in crime continue to get away with it? Is because it's taught to criminalize a race. If one black person does it, then it fits all black people. If one white person does it, then it is a instance that happened with that one white person.
Lone wolf.
They just need love. That's all. They need tenderness.
I think they're probably having a mental illness, and we really need to be cognizant of it. We're not going to do a fucking thing about it, but let's talk about the mental health.
A million white people could do bad things, and they're all instances of one person doing it. If
the loneliest lone wolves you ever seen in your life.
Every single black person gets a blanket, gets a blanket of that's all black people. And so when you
But
criminalize,
if a black person does something good, that's when we become the individual. When we do something great, then we're individuals.
Look at Oprah Winfrey. She's got $1 billion. Why can't you be like Oprah?
All of us are horrible, but do something great, and we're distanced from one another. But real quick, Bob, where do you reside?
Scotland.
So quick question. And I'm not being facetious. Why are you so concerned about what's going on in the United States?
Fair question.
He's filling his head from over here. And he watches Fox News from over there.
Which is ridiculous.
But hold on. No, seriously, Bob. Do me the honor of answering one question that I've asked you today.
So,
why are you concerned about black people in the United States?
I'm not just concerned about black people. I'm concerned about politics in general. It affects us all.
No, I asked very specific questions, and that's what I want to know. Why are you concerned about black people in particular in the United States? Because you didn't say,
solid blue
what do you want? Oh, wait a minute. Just like I let you clarify the last time. You didn't say at the beginning or throughout this, hey, what do you all want to change about your politics here? Hey, what do you all want to change? You specifically said black people, and you have been trying to contradict black people. So why do you care about what's going on with black people in the United States if you're not in the United States?
Because about 3 or 4 years ago, I met the lovely lady to my left, Solid Blue Sister, who invited me on the show to become a co-host and to discuss these really important conversations. And I love having these conversations. I like like to pay attention to what's going on in the world. And more importantly, what you're doing there is doing the whole, for example, the abortion argument where men don't get a say unless you agree with us. So that's what we're trying to do there.
Men don't get a say in abortion. Men do not get a say.
Lord. You really want to go there? Because I'll go tit for tat with you, sweetheart. You really
facile argument.
Guys,
that's an invalid argument that has nothing to do with race. Abortion affects every woman around the world.
The panel.
I have one question because I do got to get going. I got to get going. I got a question, and this is my question. Is you just said I met this wonderful person, and my question is, if she meant that much to you, then why haven't you done the research to unpack what white people have done in America to black people and the people like her?
Lloyd, I've done the research, and I would argue that like for example, I don't know if you were on the show, Lloyd, but we did a show on the Jewish question about maybe it was before Christmas, right? And Solid Blue conceded a few things, and I don't know who else, but it was a great show, and it was the whole one about like the 78% of slave owners were Jewish. And then even about that it wasn't just every white person could own a slave. It was the rich elite.
Bob. So when you sit there and say the number of slave owners, you understand that it was other white people that maintained slavery system? You didn't have to own a slave to maintain slavery. The slave catchers did not own slaves. The people that used to work down at the workhouse, you know what the workhouse is? When the enslaved person didn't want to beat the slave, they'd send them down to go get some sugar. And then they would be sitting there ready to whoop people's ass. They didn't own no slaves. So you know the overseers, the overseers on the plantation, they didn't have no money. See, you're the overseer. Hold on, wait. You're the overseer. I want you to understand that. You might not own anything. You might not be able to make change. But what you're doing is you're the one who's grabbing the whip and whipping the shit out of people because you're mad that you don't own anybody. And that's what we're trying to tell you.
Who fought to end slavery?
It wasn't white people. Did he go there? No. Did he just go there?
He did.
I asked a specific question.
Did he just say?
Stop.
Ain't no way in here.
Everybody, stop. Just stop. Okay? Okay, hold on, because everybody's talking over.
Hey, Solid Blue, I just want Bob to know. Hold on, no, because I need him to know that the racists think you're great.
I need you to stop right now. I need you to stop right now. But I am going to say this to the people in the comments, whatever. I wanted, when I first did Friendly Differences, I reached out to Bob because he was in another country. I reached out to him because I wanted that different take on things that are going on in the UK, things that are going on in America, things that are going on in Poland and whatever. If I can get somebody from Japan, from all over the country, I want them on my show. Okay? I want them. I am the type of person who I want to hear from everyone. So whether or not, when people say, why does it matter to you, whatever, I want to know why it matters. I think that is important, just like I don't want to be dismissed if I were to go over to the UK and someone on the BBC says, well, she's from America. Why does she care? Because people who look like me in the UK are being treated the same way that we are in the US. People who think like Ba are here in the US. So
one of them just called us the R slur.
No. That's great. That's wonderful. And that
for
would
the
have been a great
person
answer
who
to my
called us
question.
retards, the person in the chat who said retard, I am going to say that you can think whatever you want about us, about the 7 retards on the panel, but that right there is showing how ignorant you are because you're talking about disabled people. So it shows your ignorance.
Now,
in other words,
you
they
can say that.
breathe.
I'm just going to say your mother.
Kiss my ass. How about that? I'm saying that.
Hold on a second. Here's the thing. Bob, throughout this whole show, I have been very specific in my questions because I am trying to get an understanding truly of where you're going, where you're coming from. Because like I said, for us to have a good understanding, and I've made an offer to you, but the reason why I asked, and you took it and decided to put words in my mouth and bring up abortion, and you're sitting here talking about don't do whataboutisms when I gave you history. You're the one coming with whataboutisms. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this honestly and earnestly. Do not toss out terms that you do not understand. And it's clear that you don't have a good grasp of these, and I'm not being mean. But I get Solid's premise for wanting to do her show the way that she does and wanting different perspectives. But I specifically asked where you were from and why you're concerned about Black people in the United States, because why aren't you talking about the widespread systemic racism in Scotland? Why aren't you talking about the hate crime statistics? Why aren't you talking about the workplace and structural racism? Why aren't you talking about the social and geographic racism there? You're talking about, hold on. Please stop doing this. You seem to be able to listen to everybody else but me. Please hear me. If you're going to come into this conversation, you could easily say, hey, there are parallels between Scotland right now and the United States. You could easily say, hey, Black people, I've noticed these statistics in Scotland, and I've noticed in learning about the politics and the day-to-day in the United States. How did you all get from this point in history to this point in history? Instead of coming in and presenting yourself on camera as a wayward ally. And the reason why I say that you're giving off performative is because before we started this broadcast, I came in the midst of you and Solid having a wonderful conversation where you were showing compassion, where you were listening. The rest of us joined in and we expanded the conversation. You were respectful. You were compassionate. You had empathy. This is why I feel that you're being performative and you're making this your online persona, especially since you can give a perspective from another country dealing with things. You're coming from a country that is really predominantly white bodied. You could talk about how you're educated on race, how maybe you have more instances where you don't experience diversity, and bring that to the conversation instead of waging an online, in front of the camera, war on Black people, but trying to also make solid your token. Did you realize that each time you're talking about this woman, you're talking about her as if she's some badge of honor, some shield that's supposed to keep you from getting any type of critique or criticism? But that doesn't seem to be who you are when the cameras aren't rolling for the public. Now, if I'm wrong and you're really an egregious person that's avoiding education like it's the ultimate deadly allergen, say so.
I have one book, one book I want you to read. You can find it on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle. I want you to take this down. Black AF History. Everybody, please note, I did just give him a resource. Black
just said no.
AF History.
He
I
just
don't
said
care
no.
if you download it. I don't care if you print it illegally. I don't care if you buy it legally. I don't care. I want you to buy that book and I want you to read it cover to cover. And then I want you to come back.
I'll
tell you what I'll do.
He just said no.
I'll tell you what I'll do.
Michael Harriot's one of my friends, and I want him to get the money for his book. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I'll do with you. I'll read that book if you read one of mine.
Tit for tat. Let's go. What is it?
Well, I'll get back to you.
Really?
Oh, no. Stand on it.
I have a pen and
You
paper
wanted to
ready.
read a book. Bring it out. What's the book? What's the book?
No, because I've never ever had a reference from someone that obviously disagrees with me to read one of my sources that's just going to
Then bring, what is the source? What is it?
Actually, it's not going to confirm bias. What it does is actually explain how history has been so whitewashed, because one thing white people don't want to take credit for it would be racism. So it's very interesting how history has been so whitewashed. If you know anything about the plantation that actually just burned down south a little while ago, it's funny, when you would go on tours before that thing burned down, they would say, oh, this was one of the plantations where the slaves were treated the best, when anybody with a brain knows you sent slaves down to the deep south to break them, because the south, they treated you absolutely like dog shit. In the north, because it wasn't as hot and people weren't as vile, they didn't treat you quite as bad. But deep south, they had no problem beating you until you could not move, and then beating you some more because you won't move. So it's interesting that you're immediately saying something along those lines instead of actually shh and taking down said resource.
Yeah,
and it's also interesting to me. I've noticed
book.
anytime Taj is talking, you have a bad habit of interrupting her. Is it because she's a Black woman? I genuinely am curious. And you've done it to Dread too. I've peeped.
Yeah, I've done it to everyone. You just seem
You
to
haven't
miss
done
it.
it to me.
All right. Hold on.
Nowhere
Not
near
done
as
it
much
to me.
as them. Nowhere near.
Because I don't play.
Time out. As one of the co-hosts of the show, I want to welcome in my favorite girl, Ace. Okay, Ace Chaotic. I will not tell her story. She can tell her story of her lineage, so on and so forth. Solid, I ain't trying to take your spot, but you know I was a big part of the show. So yes, I'm welcoming Ace. Thank you for being here today. Ace, I need you to unmute your mic and welcome yourself to the world.
Now she gonna tell me what to do. All right.
That's
Hello,
right.
everyone. Some of you guys have met me and we've been in these together. Bob only ever really been in the comments when you're here. So I'll give you a little bit of insight. I am biracial. My mother is a white Italian. My father is a Black American. When they got together, I grew up in a household where I constantly heard racist commentary, including prejudice commentary. I was told by my white mother, no man will ever take you home because of the color of your skin. Mind you, I lived in white neighborhoods. So the boy I was dating at the time was also white. This came from my own mother. My mom was very aware of how my skin color made a huge difference, but not aware enough to understand what I was going to go through being raised. I'm telling you all this for a reason, I promise you. So my mom didn't really think much when I'd say I was being targeted, I was being attacked, people were treating me different in this school. It was always, I was the problem. I would sit in classes, Black History Month, only person of color in the room. And the first person the teacher would come to about, well, how do you feel, was me. Like if I was the spokesperson for Black America, it was never my peers, it was me. I joined sports, example, track. First words out of my track coach: this one right here is going to be our runner. Only Black person. Why would you point me out? So I chose to do field events. I was not going to cater to what he thought I was going to be. And I could run, I just refused. It was not until my stepbrother, who is Black, was targeted by police officers and gunned down that my mom started to notice maybe things were a little bit different. It was not until my other brother, who is her biological son, he's biracial like me, started getting targeted by police to the point where they would pull over the car. Even if I borrowed her car, they would pull me over looking for my brother. It became a constant. They were on the lookout for him. And she couldn't quite understand why until she watched it go down. I honestly don't think, Bob, that you're going to understand the difference and how it rolls here unless either one, you are here to live the experience, because you keep disregarding our experiences, but our experiences are valid and you can't take that away from us. So yes, I get it. Example, sundown town. Legally, it says this is no longer a sundown town. My experience has told me otherwise. My experience has been I go somewhere and automatically I'm getting called the N-word and told to get out the store, or don't be here, don't come back, and everything else. People not wanting to rent out a room to me because of the color of my skin. No, you can't stay here, but you have availability. No, no vacancy, but it says vacancy. No, no vacancy. Okay, sure. If you don't go in and live the experience or take a class like Taz has generously offered you, where you sit down and take a moment to really open your mind and hear everything out and have those conversations, I don't think you'll ever understand. And I'm not saying that you're not capable of it. I'm just saying that I feel like right now you're on defense mode, and I understand it is a heavy panel, but I don't think you're ever hearing anything that anybody's saying because you fell immediately on defense and it shut you down to where you're listening to respond, not to understand. That's all I got at the moment. Thank you.
Not even listening, just hearing to barely give a response. So, just in closing, once again, I made the offer once, I'm going to make it again. Usually, I only offer up one of each, one class, one whatever. But I am going to, and I know for years this has pissed off Lloyd that I do this, and it now pisses off Thomas, that I'm willing to sit down and have conversations with people, whether face to face or online, that they're like, don't put yourself in danger. I train with something. I'm not worried about that. So once again, right, and we know who I'm about to marry, and he don't play with me. But I'm willing to give you, like I said, with your permission, Solid can forward me your email. 4 weeks of the open discussion, and there are people of all backgrounds, race, ethnicities, etc., from all over the world. Then we sit down and we have the tough conversations regarding each other. And my history class that's on Saturday for adults. If you agree to do that, that's fine. And for the last time, I'm going to give you an opportunity live on air to apologize for consistently disrespecting me. You're muted, Solid.
Can you hear me? Okay, so there is a video that I have been wanting to play, but Thomas, you go ahead and you
hold on.
Wait, Lloyd.
Lloyd
has to leave.
Okay, Lloyd, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Lala, for having me here. Thank you for everyone that knows me. Ace, it's good to meet you, and you too, lady. Artemis, it's good to meet you. Appreciate you, Bob. I'm just saying it. Really listen to what people are saying and try and take it in. I know it sounds like people are attacking you because we are. And so y'all take care, everybody. I'm out.
Bye, Ann.
Be safe, Lord.
Bye, Lloyd.
Ba, are you willing to take Taz up on her offer?
No. No thanks.
Okay.
And the crowd
I need my
is unsurprised.
This is what. Listen, this is when I need my soundboard.
I want to play a video, and I would like to get the take from everyone in terms of what you think. I'm going to play one first, and then I'm going to play another one immediately after. So the first one is like 32 seconds. The other one is like 3 minutes.
Mr. Hasty, what did you think we were before you began to think of us as human beings?
Well, in a way, we thought of you almost as a very superior pet. Something, or rather someone, we had to take care of. Because we had to do so much of their thinking for them. We had to do almost everything for them that, except living their own lives. Anything outside, we had to do for them. Anything outside, we had to do for them.
Okay, and then this other one I want to play.
So when you see the word white, what comes to mind?
How do I feel about the word white?
Privilege, I think power, access, luxury.
A race, some good, some bad. Can't be critical of all whites, but there is a strong element of racism in white Australia.
I think of Iggy Azalea and Miley Cyrus.
White is a way of being, doesn't always mean skin color. It's a way of thinking.
When I think about white, I think about maybe a group of people who I would love to be in harmony with, but don't always feel like they feel the same way towards me.
White, run, controlled, system.
Not understanding. They don't acknowledge what has happened in the past. They don't try to understand as well. They just push it off and say that it's in the past.
What I think when I see the word white, first word that comes to mind would be privilege, arrogance, naive.
So there's just several things throughout the course of history that white people have taken advantage of.
Not all of them are like wallowing freely and shamelessly in their privilege, but it seems like the ones that are typically male.
The further away you get from white, the harder life can be sometimes.
Controlling figures in my lifetime, in my mother's lifetime, as far back as I can think of, actually.
There are things that I have to think about that they never think about, that it just doesn't even cross their mind.
When I'm called white, it feels like it's dismissing another huge part of who I am, which is that I am in fact a person of color.
They are the average person. They are just people in general.
I want to say helpful, but only helpful so long as it benefits them.
A set of values.
Wanting equality without giving up any of the power.
I think privilege is really all of it, just the ability to be seen as a person.
Whiteness is a construct.
It's in the best interest of the status quo for people like me to identify as white and sort of let my Native American identity fall to the wayside. I'm still a Native American who's walking around on the earth. I might as well not be if I'm not going to own it.
I believe you're white or black, green, yellow, red, purple.
So when you see the...
Solid, if I may, really quickly, while it's on my mind. And I want to go to the heart of what this show is about. And I'm going to look you in the eye with these big, beautiful brown eyes of mine. What do Black people want? We want to be acknowledged. We want to stop being gaslit. We want the same justice that we face for white men and women to face. We want white privilege to cease. We want to know that there will be legislations put on the books and enforced that if you do something to me, not even as a hate crime, but if you, a white man, commits violence against me, my family knows you're going to face justice, just as if I, as a Black woman, do something to you, I'm going to face violence. You see, in this country, we know for a fact it doesn't take much for a white person to get justice, but it takes marches and protests for anybody to notice. Ahmaud Arbery would not have gotten justice if we didn't see the video of not one, not two, but 3 white men running him down and shooting him for jogging. We want the same equalities, privileges, justices. As a Black woman who is trying to have a child in this country, I want to know that when I have that child, I will not be ignored if I say I'm in pain. If I go to the hospital and say I'm in pain, they won't accuse me of being a drug addict. You know how wild it is that I'm accused of narcotic seeking and I'm allergic to morphine? We want to be seen, heard. Put those sundown towns are illegal. But if Thomas take his Black ass to Vidor, Texas after dark, we ain't going to see him anymore. And nobody's going to do anything. We have a president in this country that shouldn't have been on the ballot, but there he is. And it's not just because of his money. We know about class. But when it boils down to it, even when it comes to law enforcement, race plays an issue. There is a Black officer that was sentenced to 40 years in prison because he shot and killed a 6-year-old autistic child. There was no need for marches or protests. He got his, and I'm not mad that he got it. I don't care that he's Black. His father was reaching outside the car and you still shot him. You're exactly where you need to be. But they want to give Derek Chauvin a pardon. We had to watch a 9, almost 10-minute video of a man having his neck I am a licensed EMT. Do you understand what happens when somebody has a knee on their neck past 6 minutes? That man was dead already. That stream was urine because he peed on himself. That was him dying. And we still, like they said, we still got people making jokes. Oh, he's been clean for 5 years because he passed away. They're trying to make a fentanyl addiction as the reason why he died, which, by the way, the fentanyl and opioid crisis, it was a crisis because it was in West Virginia, Kentucky. The crack epidemic wasn't a problem until it was in Iowa, until little Becky was getting trains ran on her in a crack house in Newark. That's when it was a problem, because it was someone who looked like you. Why isn't it a problem when it's in Compton or Detroit or Newark? Because it's people who look like me. We want to be seen as human. That's the first step. Human. If you want to talk about race, the human race. And if we're all going to be a part of it and treat it as such, then give up that privilege, because supremacy and equality cannot coexist. My plane is landed.
All lives cannot matter until Black lives do, period.
You know, I've been just basically just sitting back and listening, to everyone. And Taz, I'm just getting to know. But I have said this to you before. Everybody has their own story. Everybody has their own story to tell. And just because you can't go back and look it up and look at the law or Google it and see it, whatever, it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. Now, there is somebody else that some of us know likes to say, I didn't read about that. I didn't read it. And I have to constantly ask this person, do you read everything that goes on in this entire world? Just because you don't read about it or you didn't hear about it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. And this person only listens to one news station and only one person. So, but you don't have to take Taz up on her offer for her class. But again, I go back and say, and this is just me, I'm not trying to brag that, that I read everything, but again, growing up, my parents wanted my sister and I to read. They wanted us to read. And my mother really wanted me to read because I stutter. And it was important for me to learn different words that if I couldn't say one word, I could substitute another word for it, which is what I do, even to this day. But, you always say the media, but it's the media is where you're getting your information. And I will ask you this, Bob, because I went back and I was watching last week's show. And there's a question that you didn't answer. I asked you, how often do you interact with Black people? How often do you interact with people of color? And you replied to, there are people, in your country, whatever, that people of color who are moving in, whatever. My question is, do you work with people of color? Do you go out to lunch with them? Do you have personal relationships with them? So saying that, because they say that the majority of white people who have comments like you have never been around Black people. I went to Girl Scout camp for 4 years. I love Girl Scout camp. And I was around a lot of white girls who had never been around Black people. When I went away to school, and I'm in class with, usually the only Black person, I'm sitting in this class, I'm around white people who literally have never been around Black people. I had white people who literally say, "Can I touch your skin?" Seriously? It sounds crazy. But we have people of color, Black people, people of color, always have to go into your world. We're always around you. We're working with you. We're going to school with you. But you're never really coming into our world. I have white friends. People want to say, "Well, I have a Black friend," and Black people get upset when white people say that. I'm saying I have white friends. I have white friends that I go to lunch with and go on trips with, whatever. But if you've never engaged with people, you're getting all your information second and third hand. You're not actually having the experience of being with us.
I just don't think it's that important when there's subjective truth, when there's objective truth. Like, it was very telling from day one when me and you started this show that we decided to do a show on all the hot topics. We started with freedom of speech, we did gun control, we did abortion, we did about 6 or 7 shows before we got to that racial show that you wanted. And I said to you on Telegram, well, we stick to the format, which was opening statements. We go around the room and we give a closing statement and we debate like we debated all the other shows. And you said to me, you can't debate race. If it's my truth, it's my truth. And that's where the show went off the rails for me. And ever since I left, and again, my opinion, I know it's not everyone's, but the show has just became another my turn to talk with Black co-hosts, and there's not that pushback. It's become an echo chamber, and that's the reason why, again, respectfully, thank you, Taz, for your offer. But why would I sit in a room with the enemy or the person that disagrees with me and listen to their indoctrination? Like, if I was to
did
talk,
you not hear my description?
Why am I the only one that gets interrupted again? I can't finish what I'm saying, and I won't be long. Right, but whenever it's taken us an hour and 15 minutes before one person in the panel, thank you, Dread, to give me something tangible. That's what this show was all about, and I've done what I've said I would do. I've wrote it down: white privilege, the justice system being equal, and I have heard this one before about Black women being disregarded for pain meds when giving birth. We can talk about these things. tangible things that we can discuss. But the rest of you guys just want to give me, and again, I promise you, if anyone knows me, and I don't really care, and this isn't me being a dick, but I don't really care what people who don't know me think. I always say this. I only care what people around me because they know the kind of person I am. But the analogies and the lived experiences from anyone on the panel that's shared tonight, I promise you, I empathize with you. And if you knew me on a personal level, I'd have been right with you, and it wouldn't, like, I would have tried my best to help you guys. But we could sit here all night. I could bring a friend on. I could bring a friend on next week and say, look, she's white, she was beaten by her boyfriend, she was whatever, her analogy. We don't get anywhere. We know that this happens to every race on the planet. So let's move forward and fix it. Who's the enemy? The police for doing what they did to George Floyd and Tony Timpa, or is it the government for setting these policies? Or do you want to believe that it's white privilege when you come to these slums and you see white people in the streets, the military, ex-military guys? Come to Scotland and I'll show you the homeless Scottish. What power do I have over your life? What can I do that you can't do to me? Like,
you know what?
Like, that's the stuff.
No, wait a minute. No. Because I have sat here and been quiet.
No, all I ask, give me 30 seconds because
Hurry up. I'm about to. I'm gonna drop.
Stop.
I'm just gonna leave.
Hold on, Ba. I'm really taken aback that one, you're acting as if only one person has given you anything credible, and two, that you keep putting words in my mouth. Now, when I describe both my class and the open discussion is brimming with people who look like you, and it's global. And I've said that, where we sit down and we talk and we break through things. And my class isn't an indoctrination chamber, because part of my research is actually going and asking people who lived in these places, who were still alive, that lived through a lot of these things, and asking their perspective on the history before I decide to teach it. I even go down to the archives, and I've made trips to read people's grandma's journals and diaries to make sure that I'm as unbiased as possible in giving history. I don't know what your issue is with me per se, but it's blaringly obvious to everyone. And quick question, I can read all day long about Scotland, but if I get something wrong about Scotland and you come and correct me, would you want me to respond in the way that you are responding to Black people? Go ahead, Thomas.
You know what, Bob? I'm gonna be dead ass honest with you. You were the reason 5 years ago I started to unlearn everything I ever knew about my life. Bob, I'm 54 years old. I got out of the Army in January 25th of 2021. All I ever wanted to be was a soldier. That was it. But when I got out, couldn't be no soldier no more. Body couldn't handle it. Mind couldn't handle it. So I started a little bit of deconstruction myself. One of the first things I learned about Ba is that I am a misogynist. I have mistreated women in the past. Was I the drugging, raping type? No. I was a philanderer. I cheated a lot with a lot of women. I did. Now, that hurt. That hurt me. That hurt me to my core, but I had to own it. And I own it to this very day. Does that make me special? Does that mean I'm a simp? No, it just simply means I'm being honest with myself. So I'm going to tell you something, Bob. You don't ever have to change. Don't you ever change. Don't ever change. But let me tell you what you are going to get for that non-change, okay? You are never going to question the bullshit you got raised up with because it's too hard for you. It is too goddamn hard for you. And I'm glad you're laughing because I really don't give a fuck at this point. You are the sort of person that seems to believe that your way of thinking is right and we need to come together. Why the fuck would anybody want to come together with somebody who will not even question the shit you've learned your entire goddamn life? Bob, when was the first time you got put in handcuffs? Don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Because I got them at 11.
21.
11, Bob. The first time I ever got called a nigga, I was 7 years old. And it was a kid across the goddamn street from me in Memphis, Tennessee. Do you know what my answer was to that kid, me and my little sister? Oh, we were going to whoop his ass. We were going to beat the shit out of him. This was the first time we'd ever heard a white kid call us that. But where did that kid learn it from? His punk-ass father. I was 11 years old the first time I was ever put in handcuffs. My little brother was 7. And it was because some goofy-ass white woman, her son got his ass whooped by black kids, and any black kids would do. So me and my brother had to sit in the back of a goddamn police car while this white woman went and found her son. These are the ones that beat you up. And it turned out, no, we weren't, because we had been in the house all day. The first time I ever got my goddamn head cracked open, I was 13. I was in a white karate gi, leaving karate class. I got the back of my head split open. I got called a nigga more than once by 3 different officers, 2 white and a Hispanic, because a 90-something-year-old woman with glasses so goddamn thick the bitch could see the sixth sense had the nerve to say that there was a black man walking around breaking in cars. But it wasn't him, it wasn't me, because I wasn't wearing black pants. And then when I went home, bleeding all over the back of this goddamn karate gi, my mother said there ain't nothing we can do about it, because that's the police. You know what that cop told me? He could blow my little black ass away and get a fucking medal. He said that, not me. That shaped how I saw things. But even in that, even in that, I tried to make sure my shine wasn't dim, because that's how I learned at home from 2 black people who lived and were born and lived in Dillon, South Carolina. My father in 1928, my mother in 1936. They gave me real lessons on racism, not this shit you get on television. So I don't care if you understand, Ba. At this point, I don't give a fuck. But I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to be as honest about this as I possibly can. You have wasted my time, Taz's time, Solid's time, Lloyd's time, Dred's time, Artemis's time, and Ace's time by being the fucking selfish dick that seems to believe you know better than people who have lived this shit. I don't care if me saying that white history is about violence and the rest of us have had to live through it. I don't give a shit if it makes your little skin itch. I don't care if you think it's black fatigue. Because at this point, I am no longer walking around looking for the approval of somebody who literally doesn't know a goddamn thing. I don't even care that you're from Scotland. You represent every white man I have ever met in my goddamn life. Think you know better, don't know shit. So if you don't like our lived experiences, if you don't want to take Taz up on an offer of learning how to untrain your goddamn brain in this bullshit, you are wasting everybody's fucking time. I am sick to death of white men that act like they know better. And I don't care if you're in Scotland, the United States, Europe, Paraguay, I don't give a goddamn. Every fucking day, I have to live with the knowledge that when my feet touch the fucking ground, I represent 13% of the goddamn population of the United States. Everything I do is under a fucking a microscope. Everything Taz does, everything Dred does, everything Solid does is under a fucking microscope. Because if one does it, we all do it. But you white men who can kill, murder, molest, rape, beat up, steal people's fucking life savings, and it's called business and capitalism. There's always a fucking lone wolf. There's about 1 million of you motherfuckers. Every single time we turn around, who is it that's shooting up schools? White men. Who is it that's touching kids? White men. Go look at the fucking Jeffrey Epstein files. You will not find one goddamn black person poor like me in those fucking files. And all we have to do is, oh no, we can't say that out loud. No, don't say it, because we might hurt his feelings. Oh, God, we got to think about the white man. Fuck you. How about that? I don't give a fuck about your fucking feelings. I have been older than you have been, and I've seen more in this world than you ever have. And the last goddamn thing I'm going to do for the remainder of my black-ass life is live in a world where I got to worry about your fucking feelings. If you don't like the fact that we say white men tear up shit, maybe, just maybe, learn how to fucking dismantle it and stop wasting everybody's fucking time with this. Well, I'm not going to learn. I'm not going to learn. Then walk your ass off the longest pier, off the tallest building to the deepest fucking cavern in the world. You're wasting everybody's fucking time. I'm done. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. I'm done.
Oh, okay. I want to correct you on something, because you said that when it was on my turn to talk, it, kind of went off the rails and stuff. And Ace is here, who has been one of my mainstays on my turn to talk when my turn to talk was on Podbean. My shows, I'm just pulling up some of my episodes, and my shows on my turn to talk were, how How responsible should you be for your siblings? How much are people controlled by fear? Compromise versus surrender.
I was
Parents,
talking about friendly differences.
okay, but you did mention My Turn to Talk, which is
Yeah, about that show, the show that we referenced at the start. That's all I've mentioned. My
okay,
turn to talk.
because I just want people to know that my shows are not because when I start doing, even though I am going to upload a lot of the shows on here onto onto Podbean, but if you go for everybody, if y'all want to go on Podbean and you pull up Solid Blue System, My Turn to Talk. I've had some really, really good shows where we're talking about bullies and and a whole bunch of other stuff. But for friendly differences, one reason why I took the turn the way that I did was because the more and more that I, especially after the election and what have you, and I saw what people were saying and everything, I don't want to run away from topics that people are afraid to talk about. And as far as me having Black hosts, I have reached out to so many white people, and they don't want to be co-hosts, but yet they'll go into the chat or they'll send me a message or they'll, say something to somebody else. Well, she doesn't have this, and how come she only has Black people? I'm like, hey, you want to come on the show? Hey, do you want to be a co-host?
I know you would do that. I know.
So,
Listen, you don't need to justify that.
No, but you made the comment that I have only one white co-host, which I called you and I said, do you want to come on and be another co-host? Whatever. I want my show to be so diverse. I want my show to have some of everybody in it. If it pisses one person off, I don't care.
We touched upon.
I want the discussion, but just don't come on here and say, well, you only have one white co-host. You only have, because I always extend the offer. If Hitler were alive, I would extend the offer to him because I want to know how people think. So for everybody that's in the chat and what have you, this is who I am. I want to know who everybody is. And Dredd knows this.
Absolutely. We've invited a TikTok creator by the name of Ricky. I have blocked him on TikTok because I dragged him for filth and he decided that he was going to be condescending. And I'm like, I don't know what, I can't put my hands on this man, but he's a shucking and jiving coon, if I can be quite honest, because it's one thing to say, hey, we're all in this together. Because when you look at classism and racism, the lines do get a little blurred, because just like there are people, white people, who have never seen a Black face. They don't know the Solids, the Dreads, the Taz, the Aces, the ladies of the world, people who go to work every day. We're not on government assistance. We're not trying to screw the system. We're educated. We are educating. They don't know those people. All they see is what Fox News gives them, or any of the other right-leaning things. There are Black people the same way, who have never left their neighborhoods, who don't know that there are white people that will come to their aid. There are white people that will say, I'm sick of this racist shit and I'm not going to deal with it. They don't know. But the problem is that 9 times out of 10, those Black people, those poor Black people, and those poor white people, their lived experience is going to be something different. Those poor white people, when they go before that judge, I always reference the crack epidemic because it ravaged through the Black community versus the opioid problem. See, opioid users who are white are more likely to get treatment, whereas crack users were more likely to get prison. It was a race problem, even though the fentanyl and opioid problem hit middle class, low class white America like no one else saw. It was a problem. It was a problem. Didn't matter the class, because it was white. It was a problem. But when it was Black people in the 80s, when it was black babies, when it was 11-year-old girls. Yeah, 11-year-old girls smoking crack, getting pimped out. It was a problem. But when those 12 and 13-year-old white girls were coming to my neighborhood and having sex for crack, then it was a problem. When it was that 13-year-old black girl, it wasn't. Now I am very capable of going both sides of my brain. I get what you're saying about classism, but Lyndon B. Johnson said it best. If you can let the lowest if you can pretty much if you can let the lowest white man know that he is better than the highest black man, he won't feel you picking his pocket. And that's true. Because look at those Trump supporters. Some of them can't keep food on the table. But here they are calling people niggas, telling people to go back to their countries. You can't afford the food on your table. You're telling him to go back to his country, but he's picking those avocados that you like every morning. You're eating those strawberries. That leaf blower that's keeping your neighborhood nice, he's an immigrant. You don't understand that the same government that's coming for him is coming for you, is coming for your wife. But they're just not going to come for your wife first. They're going to come for me first. I'm the black woman. They're going to come for me first. Doesn't matter that I make 6 figures a year and that white woman only makes 5. She's better than me because she's white. That's the problem.
But you know what? You look at this country, and Greg, and Ace, I think you've heard me say it on some of the conversations on Discord, and I've even said it. And I'm going to say it because for people who are in the panel, I have come down hard on Black people. I have come down very hard on Black people because sometimes Black people do things that make me just shake my head. Now, a lot of it has to do with how I grew up. I come from a family that believes in education. My son and my nephews and nieces will be 4th generation. My son is finally, in May, getting his master's. Did he have to get his master's? No, but it was expected. It wasn't required, but it was expected. 2 of my nieces and nephews had their PhDs. One of them got their PhD at the age of 25. I believe in excellence among Black people. I am very harsh sometimes when it comes to Black people. When I hear the N word, I'm more pissed off at them using the word than I am at white people using the word because we should know better. I do not believe in the ain'ts and all this other stuff, whatever. Yeah, you say it, when you're kicking around, but in everyday diction, no, I do not. But when I look at white people and the way they compare themselves to us, we have done so much. We have invented so much. We built this country. Aside from the Native Americans, who I will always put first, Black people have done so much. So when you talk about making things better or values and what have you, a lot of the oppression that Black people have gone through has all been by design. When it comes to our schools, we're not giving the better school books. We're not, we're not getting, the best teachers. We're not getting the buildings are broken down and you have to call 50 times just to get the bathroom sink working, whatever. This is all by design. So for everybody out there, you want to call me a racist or whatever, I'm just as hard on Black people as I am on white people. I do not believe that everyone is getting a fair shake because they're not. Um, Oprah has been called a nigger. Michael Jackson, a nigger. LeBron James, a nigger. They're just rich niggers. You know,
Obama.
Obama, whatever. So, it's, you know, by, and again, that's why I ask you, how many people do you interact with? Because I can honestly say that I've interacted with some of everyone, some of everyone. I want to know other people. I want to learn about other people. Knowledge is power. And it doesn't matter where, whether you're reading this book or that book, whether you're reading Mein Kampf, which I think is a book that everybody should read, it's everybody is not the same. Everyone does not have the same experiences. Um, I've dealt with racism. My son has dealt with racism. My husband, has always said that when he drives in Beverly Hills, to this day, he still breaks out into a sweat. He should be able to drive down the street without breaking into a sweat. I live in a town where I have been stopped saying, "Do you belong here?" I was one of the first people to live in this town when we still had cows everywhere, before there was even a store.
I do have to step down. I'm so sorry to interrupt. That was my timer going off to let me know I got to roll. It was a blast being up here. Thank you guys so much for having me. Taz, it was an honor. Solid, Dread, you guys know I love you. And Ace, it was so good to see you. I missed you. Ba, obviously I'm not gonna be disrespectful and say F off or anything like that, but what I'm getting from you, what I'm getting from you is very standoffish, very defensive. And all we're trying to do is get you to see that just because this does not impact you personally does not mean it's not real. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I can tell you look up Emmett Till. I can tell you look up Trayvon Martin. I can tell you look at the speeches given by Dr. King himself. Learn who Loretta Scott King was, learn who Rosa Parks is. I can give you names that you can Google, but when you're standoffish like this, or when your defenses are up and the first thing out of your mouth is no, I'm hitting a brick wall. We're all hitting a brick wall. You have to take that brick layer down, dude. You got to bring it down and be like, okay, what are they telling me? Not how are they telling me? Okay, they're passionate, they're upset, they're this or that. We have every right to be. What are we telling you? That's what you need to listen to, is what we're telling you. Because when you invalidate our experiences, you are, again, you're promoting that privilege, that unfrosted Pop-Tart privilege, my guy. And I, as someone whose dad was Scottish and I come from a Scottish clan, I've done all my research. As much as I love my dad's side, I didn't grow up with my dad's side. My dad died when I was 6. I grew up with my mom. I grew up with the black side of my family. That is what I learned. And I learned very quickly when I'm with all of my family members, my cousins, when we're all together and someone white passes by, first thing they asked was, am I okay? Am I in trouble? Do I belong here? And it's not, she clearly shouldn't be here. It's she's surrounded by people of color, not knowing I'm someone of color, not knowing what it is that I hold near and dear to me. My mom grew up in the civil rights era. My mom was 18 in 68. My mom has lived it. She has been through it, survived it. And that's what Black people do every day. Mixed people, people of color, they wake up and it's survival mode immediately. Even when you're sleeping, you're not safe. Breonna Taylor, perfect example. She was sleeping, body bagged. And the fact that it's bothersome, it comes off very bothersome for you to hear these experiences. That's the part that I have the biggest problem with, because we are literally trying to tell you what it is in the day-to-day life as someone who's mixed, as someone who is Black, as women that are Black in society that are viewed the lowest on the totem pole. And it's very dismissive. But in the same breath, you want us to take to heart the poor tragedies that have befallen white people. No one is saying they haven't. No one here has said no tragedy has ever befallen a white person, but their race had nothing to do with it, save for that one video that you're holding on a pedestal of let's get him because he's white. How many other videos are there? Countless, where they have said this person's indigenous, let's get him. This person's black, let's get him. This person's a wetback, let's get him. It's very tone deaf. And I really hope you take Taz up on her offer. And if not, I really hope you just do some actual genuine research, and not research in the sense that proves you're right, but research that actually educates you. Because right now it's very much, well, I can't be wrong. I need to be right. I need to be right. And again, that's defensive. That's not a way to learn. That's just you keeping that wall up. And that's not going to benefit anybody. So that's my professional side. Like Dred, I am also in EMS. And I've also done pharmaceuticals, and seeing the amount of white people that come out that are on methadone or go to the methadone clinics, ridiculous. But anytime someone of color comes in and they have to get a prescription for Percocet or for Dilaudid, there's an immediate check. There's an immediate, okay, let's look at their history. There's an immediate blah, blah, blah. Has it gotten better? Sure. Doesn't negate that Black women are most likely to die in childbirth because they're so neglected. It doesn't change actual systemic racist facts. So again, that's my professional side. The me side, before I hang up, the me side, you are absolutely fucking arrogant, and I honestly can't stand it. The fact that you cannot shut up for 5 seconds, or that you have to be belittling of Thomas and giving the clap and the laughs, fuck you. Okay? Fuck you. Everybody else love you. You, fuck you. You unfrosted looking Pop-Tart.
There it is.
Lady Armin, thank you.
Real quick.
Oh, damn.
But you came in, and the impression that you have left me with is that you don't want change. You want to center whiteness in victimhood.
Oh my God. Oh, sorry, I thought it was muted. I'm sorry, but
Go ahead, Dad.
Throughout the entirety of this, and I'm going to keep repeating it, the disrespect towards me alone is astounding. It is astounding.
Are you done?
Are you done, Taz? Yes.
No. Here's the thing. You started off asking us. You're the perfect example of ignorance being bliss. I'm so glad you're so blissful right now. You started out asking us for concrete this, that, and the other. I offered my services. I offered a class. You twisted that as if I was putting you in the middle of a combat zone, talking about going into enemy territory. But you, because I do my research on people, you enjoy going into comments and going into spaces where Black people, specifically in the United States, are having conversations like this. You put yourself in the array of fire. You do things intentionally to be disrespectful. And as I stated before, coming in backstage before the cameras were rolling for the public, this wasn't your persona. This wasn't how you addressed anyone. You went from heavily respectful, attentive, empathetic to this. Why? And why do you feel the need to consistently be disrespectful? Oh, and side note, since he did not take me up on my offer, I will randomly be popping in and out of the comment sections of various GCPR shows, and I will be gifting 4 different people 1 open discussion and 1 class each.
Okay. I think Ace wants one of those classes.
Ace, I already got you. That's something completely separate. That's on the side. I got you.
And Ace, after the show, do I have permission to give Lady Artemis your information? Okay.
And anyone,
I'm sorry,
solid,
I'm sorry, Taz. I'm getting the names mixed up. Taz.
I'm going to say this, solid. Any of the people who, minus you know who, that wants my contact information, feel free to give it. I enjoy talking to people and learning from people.
I want it. I want it.
I know. That's why I was saying that. And
like, I want it.
Can I speak now? Can I speak? Can I speak?
Go ahead.
You got it.
Right, so I mean, this show has turned into an absolute shit show. It's not the show that it was supposed to be. It's just been a pile-on bar. I've hardly gotten to spoke. The only person that's been able to provide me with some what I asked for was Dredd with the white privilege, and obviously the characterization from pretty much all you don't know what my background is. You've probably never listened to any show that I've been on, yet you sit and say, oh, he doesn't do research, he's educated. No, what you're really saying is he's not educated in what we're educated in, what we've been indoctrinated in, our side. And that's pretty much what's going on. And I can sit here and take it because I'm thick-skinned, and I've always said that I'll never run away from a chat. But Solid should know that we've had many shows together, and I'm keen to learn. And I'm ultimately, what I always hear when I come on this show is lived experience, and analogies like Breonna Taylor's and George Floyd's that we can bring up other examples. And when I do that, it's not, again, to repeat, it's not to dismiss what happened to George Floyd or Breonna Taylor or any of these instances, because I, for one, always premise it by saying George Floyd shouldn't be dead right now. He should probably be in jail for holding the gun against the pregnant woman's stomach, but that's a different story. He shouldn't be dead. But the thing is, when we get to this topic of what do you guys want, you give me things that unfortunately the whole world has to deal with. We all have to deal with name calling. We all get bullied. It's character building. And when you come across Black people that have rose to the top and they have chose to, they've had strong parents, they've got good morale, and they've built up a good foundation for themselves and done well for themselves. I ask you this, what did they do differently from the likes of some of those in the video that you played, Solid, that were just like, to me, that is the biggest, you're starting off kids on a levels below when you do that. I mean, Solid, you mentioned on that show, because I was listening today, that your son is too scared to drive because of the fear of...
He was. My son is 25 years old, and he just started driving when he was turning 24.
Okay, well, that's good.
So
I'm glad to hear that.
But at the same time, the fact that he was scared to drive because he's listening to all of this stuff going on, and he did not want to get pulled over, and I'm tripping out because I'm saying, if he does go out there and drive, and if he's constantly scared, he's going to do something where he's going to attract attention because he's so nervous, that he will get pulled over. And my son is very, very quiet. He is an introvert, and he's one of those people where someone, says something, he'll just freeze up, and then they'll, if they put a pointed gun in his face, that terrified me. But I don't know where that's coming from.
No, you're good. I can hear you better.
Okay.
You're good.
But the thing is white children are not perfect. White children are not, like when you said, what does this person have that this other person doesn't, whatever. I think that my sister and I, we grew up had a great foundation, but I also know people who grew up like me, who they didn't necessarily, stay on the right path. I have people who did not grow up like me, and they're doctors, they're attorneys, they're into politics. there's a political person who's in Atlanta that I used to date who asked me to marry her. I could have been Mrs. So-and-so, but I didn't. But I'm just saying that just because you grow up a certain way, you can grow up a certain way and end up robbing banks. And you can grow up, having one parent, whatever, which I think is ridiculous, because I think single parents are just as good as having a two-parent household.
Well, let's not forget there are plenty of two-parent households, but then there's still a single parent. But you brought up one for somebody who claims to do a lot of research. You spoke on a multiple times dispelled lie about George Floyd. He never held a gun to a pregnant woman. That has been dispelled. Two, you keep bringing up a lot of white supremacist talking points. And I don't know if you're aware of that or not, because you insinuated that Black people are not raised properly in your rant. Is that something that you believe?
I never said that. I said
you have the memory of a dementia.
What's the difference between? I said, what's the difference between people who are raised in my opinion, in the best way, a two-party family household with morals and strength and they build a good life for themselves, and I used the example of the video that Solid played, some of those kids. I didn't say anything about they aren't. There are white people that aren't raised well.
Do you know who was in that video and who you're comparing? This is why I say I don't think you realize the rhetoric that you're putting out. And I'm trying to be as gracious as possible. I'm giving you more benevolence than you've afforded me. And I'm doing my best to continue to do this.
I've done the same with you guys. It's just like listening and just like, oh.
At some point, can you let me speak? Every time I open my mouth, you do this, and then you reinterpret my words. I'm in the middle of a sentence trying to explain to you why I came to this conclusion, and you cut me off. You've asked me if I was done. You've smirked. You've made all sorts of comments throughout all of this. Do you not see that as disrespect?
I'm the one that's had words put in my mouth the most. I was told that I was saying that men have fantasies about young girls, and I never said that. And then you just did it there about, are you saying that Black people aren't raised right? I never said that.
I've asked you questions. You have not answered any of them. I just asked you what you've done to me this entire show. Do you not see it as disrespect? I've been trying to get clarification on what you've been saying to get an understanding of who you are. I've made that very clear. I have done more asking of questions than anything. Mm-hmm. I have tried to understand who you are, and you have yet to answer anything. So once again, how you have treated me throughout this entire broadcast, do you not see that as disrespectful? Yes or no? Just that, yes or no?
It possibly does come across as disrespectful, but the reason why is because I have sat through these shows more times than I can care to count. And it's hearing the same things over again. And again, I don't want, anytime I say these kind of things, I am on edge. Solid knows this. I say it because I don't want to disregard your personal experiences, because they are shocking. Like some of the people I know I've gone through shit as well. But we can't have shows every week where we sit and say that I had this done to me, Emmett Till had this, Breonna Taylor had this, and just it's just tale telling, not in the way of lies. I just mean it's just telling of our experiences. Let's get our heads together and work out why these things are happening and continue to happen, because I've never once said on any of these shows, and you can go back and look if you care to, that none of these things have happened. I know that the elite and the establishment is corrupt and racist, and that they play us off against each other. If it's not Black versus white, it's man versus woman, it's gay versus straight. It's their biggest tool. And the people who fall for it is the people that I want to talk to, like yourselves. People like, I don't know, Denzel Washington, who clearly hasn't fell for it because he says it in the early interview he's been in. What's he done differently that you guys could do? Like, that's my thing. If you can give me any law, any, like you said with the sundown towns, like anything that I can go and look and go, right, and come back to you guys and say, wait, and come back to you guys and say, right, we'll fight this together, and I'll start posting about it, and I'll start being on your side. But all I hear is this happened.
But just okay. So I just want to be clear. You're looking at a law that is saying that all sundown towns should be abolished, right? So you're assuming that they are. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Can I actually put it? Now, again, I could be wrong here, but if you give me 5 minutes, even if you want to talk, and I can do it. The mayor of Vidor, Texas, I'm sure is black. Or there's also a story of the governor of Vidor, or mayor. They've done a fundraiser for a black kid that had cancer. There's definitely, whether it's Vidor or Bidor, whatever you call it, or another one, that's happened. And there's multiple. I've got videos on my phone. I wish I could share them. But for you guys to push that narrative that, yeah, it was, but you think it's still happening, is not true. It's just not true.
Okay,
they're illegal.
Okay, but listen to what you're saying. Mm-hmm. It's illegal to break into someone's house. People still do it, So, and I live next door to a sundown town. If I go next door, which is like 5 minutes away from me, if I go into this town after 6 p.m., 7 p.m. during the summer when it starts to get dark, not every time, but there have been times when I have been told, "Why are you here? Do you know what kind of town this is? This is 2026. Not all the time. You are assuming that just because something is on the books, it's on the books that you're not supposed to redline anymore. But you still have people who will say, "Well, you can't buy in this area." When my husband and I bought our house here, they were like, "Well, are you sure you want to buy? Wouldn't you be happier over there?" No, we're buying here. We are buying here. When I was looking at a house my dream house that I wanted 2 years ago, they were like, "You know what kind of neighborhood you're?" I know exactly where I'm looking. So just because there are laws, I think it's kind of ignorant, and I don't mean ignorant, stupid. I mean it's ignorant to assume that just because the laws are on the books doesn't mean that it's not happening.
That's solid. As we encountered last week with you and Red, there are also places in the world where white people can't go. They wouldn't be safe. So unfortunately, we can't police things like that. Well, I mean, we should be able to police. Everyone should be safe to go everywhere. But unfortunately, that's not the world we live in. It's unfair, but it's unfair equally for all of us.
So you're admitting that there are places that you can't go.
Of course, there's places I just said that.
But here's the thing: you keep repeating easily debunked and debunkable white supremacist talking points. And what
labels? You're a walking, talking on like label machine. It's unbelievable. Like every trick in the book.
Go ahead. You wanted to call me uneducated. I heard you.
No,
I would love to, because I can put my double I can put my double masters up against your Fox News and rhetoric.
I'm sorry.
I'm tenured. I'm tenured. I get paid to go and talk to people on an international stage. But you keep saying that it's okay, because I keep asking you for clarification, and every time I do, you go on these rants that have nothing to do with what I asked you. So when I said, "Do you find it disrespectful what you've done to me?" you said, "Oh, I can see how you can feel that way," basically. Yeah. And then you went on to say, "But basically, it's okay because you've been in these panels before where people did these things to you." I have been trying to understand your perspective since we started. Even through all of the disrespect, I can't speak for anybody else. I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but I keep coming back, asking for you to clarify things. I keep coming back, asking you for your side, and you keep going on these tangents. You said you want to get to a point where we can fight together, that you don't believe this is about race, this is about gender, this is about sexual orientation. Okay, fine. I'm on board with that. But how can we move forward when you're showing disdain for me? Wait a minute. How can we move forward if you're showing disdain for me, that you want me to keep listening to you? And even when I don't understand where you're coming from and I'm asking for clarity, you're still dismissing me. How can we fight together when you can't even fight to respect me? while I'm giving you nothing but respect. I didn't call you out your name. I didn't say go fuck yourself. I didn't say anything. I haven't shut you out. I've literally been trying to understand you this whole time. I've extended olive branch after olive branch after olive branch. I thought that's what you wanted, but you're showing in front of everybody it's not what you want. So please tell me, what is it that you want from all of these conversations that you're having?
Like I said at the start of the show, what I wanted from this show was to ask Black people what they wanted to go forward. And as far as I've got is when Dredd told me she's not happy about white privilege, she's not happy about the justice system and doesn't think it's equal, and the whole thing about the pregnancy pain and being disregarded if you're a Black woman. Now, what I would do going forward, and this is how constructive conversations work, and this is how my mind works more importantly, right, is we would take white privilege and we would try to put it into perspective. How do you, what's the word? Help me out. Like, put it into like.
How do you eradicate?
No, like, how do you not monetize? Anyway, you would give me instances of white privilege, what you would think is white privilege. And then I would say, well, is it like, we would constructively dig into that. That's how this conversation should go. But instead, every time I've been on this show, this panel, it doesn't get, because you don't want to answer it. And it's been an age-old thing with this show. Solid knows that this show always turns to shit. When we want to discuss...
Hold on. No.
Wait a minute. I keep asking for clarification.
You are telling me that my show's turned to shit, and I'm sorry.
No, this show.
But here's the thing. I keep asking.
Not turned to shit.
Because I keep asking for clarification, and you're not giving it.
I mean, Bob,
you're not giving it.
I take offense to this. You may think that it has turned to shit. And when we were on Podbean, you asked me, what do Black people want? I said one word. I said respect. But just because you don't accept what we're saying doesn't mean that we're wrong.
White people don't get respect. You're not going to get respect, Solid. So respect is earned, not just freely given.
You are absolutely right. And I feel that as a person, I'm not talking about as a Black woman, as a woman, whatever. I feel that as a person, that in some spaces that I am in, I do not get respect because of how I look. When I walk into a room, people will automatically judge me, and that's a fact.
Right? Was I respected on tonight's show, Solid? Yes or no?
Yes, you have. But
okay, from Thomas and from Lady Artemis, I was respected.
But we're talking about you. I'm talking about if I were to go out or whatever. All I said was okay. So you're sitting here and telling me that just because I think one person respected me, then that means that every white person out there does?
I never said that. I said, was I respected tonight on this show by everyone?
No. Wait. I'm sorry. I heard you wrong. I thought you said, was I respected?
No, was I respected tonight on the show the whole time?
Oh no, they disrespected the fuck out of you. I
honestly,
hold on, time out. I got a question.
Yes,
wait a minute.
I have to honestly say,
I got a question. I was told that I had a victim mentality, and I was disrespected when I asked.
I'm not the one saying that respect has to be given. I'm not the one saying, Taz.
You're asking about no. You asked about disrespect, and I've asked you multiple times about you disrespecting me. You said that this show went to shit. When once again, I'm going to repeat this for the 6th time. I have been trying to give you an opportunity and gain an understanding from you, not just for myself, but for everybody watching and everybody on the panel. You keep playing the victim when I keep just asking for clarity. You have been dismissed. Just like you're doing now. You keep being dismissive. You continue to do it. I have done nothing but majoritively ask questions. I've given you history that you called a whataboutism. You came back with whataboutisms. I've asked you direct questions. You've skated around them. You've insinuated that it's okay to disrespect me because you previously felt attacked in other broadcasts. You said that nobody researched you 2 seconds after I said I did research you. I did look you up online, that I did watch multiple places that you have appeared and that you have spoken. I didn't come in here green. That's not what I do. Wait a second. You hinted that I was uneducated, and you said the fact that I have a double master's and I'm tenured makes what I say and how I am even worse. But you have the audacity now to ask if you were disrespected. The very first time you ever saw me, you sat in the comment section and intentionally and repetitively used my name and did not capitalize the first letter of my name, even after I said, do not disrespect me. And then the final nail in the coffin is when you typed out Solid's name, Lloyd's name, Thomas's name, and intentionally left mine lowercase. So please miss me with you sitting here acting as if you are being disrespected because you want to make your online persona something you couldn't get your personality to do. You are putting all of your energy and effort into being a white supremacist instead of actually being a better person. You keep putting forth white supremacist talking points and racial rhetoric and nothing more. Now, you don't have to agree with anything that comes out of my mouth. You don't have to align with any of my beliefs. But you're sitting here saying that respect is earned. But you are sitting here demanding that everybody respect you while you continue to attempt to be dismissive and disrespectful, and it's almost like it's a kink for you.
No. Now, can I combat that just by simply saying, if you rewatch, if any of the people in the chat rewind and tell me who was it that wanted respect, it was Solid Blue Sister, and I had said, pretty much I should have said, is how can you sit on a podcast and demand respect as a black person when you don't respect other people that disagree with you that are not black? That's and Taz getting all taking over the show with our big monologue was just a waste of time.
Okay, I can honestly say that I do not think that I disrespect anyone, and I have not disrespected anyone on this show. Just because I disagree with you or I may push back does not mean that I'm disagreeing with you. I have not called you out of your name. I have not called you an asshole, a mofo, or anything like that. I have not done that. I will disagree with people, but I don't disrespect people when they come on my show. And Dredd knows how I feel about that.
I haven't disrespected anybody today.
Just because someone disagrees with you does not mean that they're disrespecting you.
No, listen. Again, if Taz, if you say you've researched some of my shows, you'll know that I always tell people, feel free to say whatever you want to say. I have thick skin, and I always say that respect is earned, not given. So go ahead. I don't care about Thomas and his rant and saying fuck you at the end, and then Lady Artemis is 5 minutes of fame.
Rob, what does that have to do with me? I've been asking questions. What does you keep bringing up all this?
Your questions are just shit, though. You're asking me questions that have nothing to do with the topic. You just want to control the conversation, and then
I'm asking clarification out of what's coming out of your mouth.
I've said it multiple times, and again, I keep saying the only person that's given me good points to write down is Dredd. Now, come on, give me more.
Are you willing to follow the conversation? Because you keep getting in. Okay. So my questions are shit because they're based on what came out of your mouth. I've been trying to get clarification. I keep repeating this. I'm really concerned about your comprehension at this point, but not to take over the show since I'm a waste of time and space. Because the next show after this is my show. We kind of do have to
Even though we've gone over your show, it's like 2 hours late.
I just looked at the time and my co-host just texted me like, y'all know we can't be on the radio at the same time.
So and I will turn off the radio. So if you need to go, I'll turn off the radio. But y'all, I am working on getting my own phone number for y'all to call in on, because I know some people in the chat, some people have after last week's show and after Tuesday's show, and Dred was there for Tuesday's show. I need to get a call-in phone number because people want to speak.
We need to.
So, but
Ba, in case you're not seeing it in the chat saying I'm not a waste of time, and they actually want more of me.
Well, I can guess what side they're.
All right. So, guys, we've gone 2 hours and 20 minutes and 32 seconds, 33 seconds, whatever.
I'm hungry.
Me personally, I enjoyed the conversation.
I made some homemade chicken noodle soup, Dred. You want to come get some?
And we are going into Black History Month, and this was supposed to be the show to take us off into Black History Month. But I haven't had breakfast, and it's 2:26 here. So, but I do appreciate, Bob, I appreciate you coming on the show. I know you originally wanted Lloyd and Thomas, but I'm not sure if
you brought the reinforcements.
Probably would have been just me sitting here and you, because
hey, I was nice. I was nice.
See, just to say, I would love to. This show would have been a lot better with just Dred and Lloyd and you and myself, I think, honestly. And nothing against you, Ace. I've only just met you, and I do love your comments, but I do think Dred and Lloyd would have been, the better two. And that is when I first saw.
Okay, so you didn't want, but you originally wanted Lloyd and Thomas.
Yeah, but after Thomas likes to go on these big long monologues, and it's just performative. And he has a real cheek calling me performative. He's the most performative guy I've ever met.
Oh, so you have a short attention span and you lack comprehension. Got it. But thank you once again for inviting me back, Solid. And I look forward to having you on with Conversations with Taz. And Ace and Dred, feel free to reach out and I'll have you all on. And anytime I have the open discussions, you all can come. I'm really a peach, y'all. And
I know
I'll make y'all some
you're my TikTok mutual. You see me, you know that this is one of my nice moments. I
know we was both nice. I was, you know what, but that's okay. And Solid will be back in my neck of the woods, though. I'll make her something that she can tell y'all I can really cook.
Yeah, I will be back there in March. So, but everyone, I am going to have to, and everyone who is in the chat, thank you so much for hanging in there with us. Boss, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Boss. Thank you. Thank everyone for being here today.
Lady Artemis, if you're still listening, Thomas, Lloyd, Ace, you're my space girl. You're in my space. Ace is in the space.
That's right.
And when Ace is in my Discord on Friday nights when we're just talking bullshit and everybody's drinking and so anyway, everybody, enjoy the rest of your weekend and peace.